right, all you devils out there, happy Friday. Oh, let's see, it's about 1:15 for me here in Austin, and I'm about to go full-blown bull porn on you. And I think we can start to get excited about what's happening here. Now, this is going to be by far the most bullish count from an Elliott Wave perspective that I've considered. And I do think there are a number of ingredients here that make this very possible. And now, do I know what's going up here? Right? It's against language is, open to interpretation, right? Do I know what's going there? No, right? But as we look at this, I think this is a very valid count. And I've been reluctant to this. I think most Elliottians have been a bit reluctant here because of some of the characteristics of a more typical Elliott Wave pattern here, or price action. But as we sit here now with this, what would either be an extension in the fifth, or as I'm counting it here, with the wild card being here where I have these question marks, for this to be a series of 1, 2. So it would be a completed 1 here into a 2 here, to another 1 into another 2, into another 1 into another 2, and yet again another 1, 2. So now we're going to break this down here. Let's see, I'm on Coinbase here. This is a daily chart. Now, right off the bat, what makes you suspect of this? Many of us have been looking at this going, okay, 1, 2, 3, that has to be the 4, right? It has all the characteristics of a 4, but then you would think, oh, okay, well, here's the perfect finish, right? And I think I did this last week. If we look at that, oh my God, it's perfect, right? We've got the right look, all the right wave relationships are there, but we're not done, right? It's by a long shot. This has got plenty of room to go. We're going to look at some of the key typical, I shouldn't say typical, but the crypto-specific, Bitcoin-specific indicators that many follow here. None of them are flashing a top. And then we have, what is often considered the key driver to Bitcoin's price appreciation is the M2 money supply, which we're going to look at in a minute. Courtesy of a guy I follow over on Medium here, which I'll show you that chart and his info momentarily because I pulled it directly from him. Okay, but back to the Elliott count here. What has made this, a point where people are reluctant to, oh God, it's got to be the 4. Well, if you're in log scale here, as I am, this looks like, oh, come on, we're going to do the 2 here. It's too shallow, right? So if we complete here, we're only going to do a 23. Now, of course, I think most Elliotticians are aware that Bitcoin has unusual wave 2s often, right? They're either very deep or very shallow. It's not traditional Elliott. Of course, Bitcoin does love, right? Pivot to pivot, loves the golden zone. But as we're putting together this count here, this 2 seems so shallow. It's just, you would immediately discard that going, no, it can't be the 2. Well, of course, keep in mind that if you take this here, again, I'm on a daily chart. If you take this out of log scale, this becomes a lot more probable. From the low here, now, okay, still, right, we're only making the 38, but the depth of the retracement relative to what comes, and then you would be looking here and, here, let's hide this just for a second here, as I might distort. Let's hide that for a sec. As you start to look here, well, wait a minute, wait. So this would be the next 2, and if indeed we pull this up as the next, let's get that right on there, as the next 2 from this low, now it starts to look much better, right? So the question mark remains down here. Could this be the 2? Again, take it out of log scale, and this has a much higher probability of a 2. And then note the perfect, we've looked at this before, as many have noticed, right? We get the shelf, right? The prior resistance becomes the support, prior resistance, right? We don't quite tag it perfectly, but we get this little box down here for the 1, 2, possibly another 1, 2. Now, pop that into log scale, and then this opens up a bit more. But just for the demonstration here, to make the point. Now, also, you might note here, right, we're right in the pocket here between the 50 and the golden zone. Where's our top? Boom. Right, so what might make you think, okay, well, that's obviously it's algo driven. Well, I mean, everything in here in every market is algo driven. But we can look here and again in terms of forecasting, which, we're doing our best to try and forecast based on everything that we can see in front of us, knowing that these forecasts are very prone to change. But right now, as we're looking at it here, I don't see any reason to invalidate this. So I am going to put it back in log scale just so we can see it a little bit better. I'm going to open it up here. So if we allow for the possibility that we put the 2 in here rather than the 4, which has been, again, almost every Elliott account I've seen, right, from some very good Elliotticians, are consistently putting the 4 here. Well, I think we got to think beyond that, right? Now, again, I'm not saying that this is the right count or that all the other Elliotticians putting a 4 here are wrong. I've never say that. I'm just looking at this going, how can this keep going higher? Like, what is a combination of wave structure that would allow for this? And I think this is very reasonable. Again, this 1-2 is significant. If I draw it again from the proposed low here and get it right there. Now here I'm in log scale again, right? So front run on the 50, there's your target. It's your wave 3 target. You can see I've got it teed up here. Could we put a set of median lines on this for some guidance? Of course we can, right? So we put this here. Not there yet. When could we get there? I realize, right, it's a little unconventional, right, to stick this right here and be leaning into the 1-2. But I think this is a very reasonable count. So again, am I saying this is the count and this is where we're going? No, of course. But I think this is a count that you might want to consider for those of you applying Elliott Wave and looking for how is this going to continue. If we're going to continue, you might put this count into your mix. I'm putting this at the very top of my list as one of 2 contenders here. And I think right now you've just got to take it swing by swing. Again, let's go to a 4 here. Let me get the market structure off of here from Ethereum just to kind of zero in on this. Now this has been difficult, right, for the Elliottician to get a good read on this because it's a bit abnormal. Now we would have well, if you look at the series of 1-2s, if indeed this was, let's draw it here, if this was a diag, right, that leads us into a wave 1, very, very reasonable. You know, big extension in the 1, okay, right, with the 3 gets shorter, the 5 gets shorter, okay, so we get a diag into a proposed 1 here. Then again, this 2 would be unusually shallow. But again, right, we're talking about Bitcoin, and it's prone to these unusual wave 2s. So the wave 2 here, well, I was fairly sure that, again, as sure as you can be, that we were going to do a WX and perhaps an A, B, C into a Y here to get something deeper, maybe going after this pivot where we know there's plenty of liquidity there, that we might do that and then go higher. But as we sit here doing this, and it's unusual, right? That is a very unusual pause. Now you can look at it and say, oh, well, it's just consolidating. Well, of course, but of course, knowing that we begin and end in 5s, that's a very unusual finish for Bitcoin. I remember talking about this last week. It doesn't look like a finish, right? We're going to finish that here. We don't even get a new low, right? If anything, we truncate. Well, I think we do truncate by a few ticks, at least. Oh, maybe a perfect double. Here on Coinbase, maybe a tick that doesn't clear. We're going to launch from that? Well, now in hindsight, of course, always it's easier in hindsight, right? We can look at here and say, okay, well, there's we have a fair value gap here that gets inverted, right? Then we get more displacement. Again, all of the bearish fair value gaps are getting inverted. So we know this is very, very aggressive price action here, meaning this is institutions and algos buying here because retail cannot move the market like that. So we know this is muscle here. So I come back to this and go, well, okay, well, that certainly has characteristics of, could it be 1, 2, we're going to try and get a 3, 4, 5 into that. It's this, right? It's essentially, there is no count here. I mean, I'm on a 4. I even take it to a 1. There's no count here. It's just radio waves. So you have to kind of work backwards and go, oh God, could it be 1, 2? Even down to a 15, it gets very tricky to kind of get a 5 out of this. Again, right? So, I mean, the market's under no obligation to give us, perfect 5s to finish. I would just kind of do this and say, okay, well, it was just accumulation here. It was just consolidation, right? And what's the one thing, the only thing we know with certainty in the markets is that from contraction comes expansion. That's the only thing we know with certainty. So this consolidation at the, a week ago, we were looking at this going, we consolidate here. Path of least resistance is lower, but then how quickly things can change. So prior counts get invalidated. You adapt accordingly as the nature of the markets. Well, I guess we'd have to do it here. There's no way around that, right? That's a very uncharacteristic finish, but okay, get over it. It's uncharacteristic. Again, market's under no obligation to do anything ever. It's going to do what it's going to do. We're just trying to use what it previously, if we look back over history, how the price action typically moves. That's unusual. But this is clear as a bell, right? Who's in control here? Now, we have swept this one. Now, is there a bearish alternative? Yes, there is. But you might think, God, could this be ABC and we're doing something more complex? That's impulsive price action, period. So one to a deep two. Now, we go mighty far south here if I get it right on there. Oh, what do I got? Oh, I think this will go to 8. Well, I don't have an 887. I think I do. Thought I did. I thought I had it. Now let's go here, right? But it's an 887. Oh, I won't put it on there, but I think we go 887 to 886 right here within a tick or two. Very, very close to it. So still, right, we can look at it and say, okay, well, it's deep. It's an unusual little pause before we rock it, but it's perfectly valid as a 2. Right? We're valid as a 2 as long as we stay above that pivot. So as we now start to launch here, it's hard to look at that and go, oh, it's corrective. No, I think not. If anything, it looks like we've got a 5 here that pick your starting point. It looks like 1, 2, is that 3, 4, 5? I mean, it's straight up. So, okay, if you're a bull, are you disappointed? Well, obviously not. Right? For a perma bull like me, I'm looking at this going, well, God, it surprises me. That's not the count that I had a week ago. But given this, well, now the question would be, as you're evaluating this, what is that? If indeed this is going to hold, right? And again, it's always subject to the price action changing it or invalidation. If this is going to hold, oh God, we might have to do it here to get this to make sense. So let's revisit this here. I'm changing this on the fly. Yes, I do know it. Oh, come here. So let's go, if we have to go A, B, C to get this done. For this to play as a corrective, as corrective price action here, we would certainly look for a way. Is there a way that we can turn this into an ABC? Now, is that a force fit? A little bit of a, well, I need it to be an ABC. Well, yes. Yes, right? Because it certainly looks like it's a 5 down. But again, I know we begin and end, right? In terms of how I approach the market and what we teach, right? Can I turn it into an ABC? Yeah, I can. Is it, what your eye would see at first glance? No. Am I going to cry about it? No. Again, right? Who cares, right? I mean, the idea is not to be, oh, my Elliott count was wrong, or I have to change it. Forget that, right? What is the price action telling you? Well, this certainly looks like we'd have another 1, 2 here, and again, it's a force fit, or it's a little bit of an Elliott shuffle. Yes, I'm completely aware of that. Do I care? Absolutely not. Okay, so what is this? So if we're going to go 1, 2, well, not likely to be the 3. What is that likely to be? Again, subject to change. It sure looks like that could be the 1 of 3. Let's put them up here. We got to place them somewhere. Let's go to micro, and what do we got here? We'll go to blue. All right. So now here's our all-time high. If we sweep that, right, you can kind of see. You can kind of see potential here. Now we're coming up right to the edge of it and holding. What can we anticipate if we get the push here, right? And again, there's no telling how far that goes, but if we push up here, we might be anticipating the retrace, right? Where's the liquidity? There's going to be some here, no doubt, right? There'll be plenty of liquidity here. But if we grab that liquidity here on a break of structure, we might anticipate the retrace for the 2, 1, 2, right? Now we're going big. Now we're going, well, again, we don't have the top here, but you can play this out as, oh God, if we're going to sweep that, well, that's not going to be 1, 2, 3. It's like, again, not speaking in absolutes, it was unlikely to be the 3, right? So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Now, once we get a pivot here and we start a retrace, then we can start to put some structure to it. But as it sits right now, that looks like 1, 2, 1, 2, which now you start to choke on it a little bit. Holy shit, right? How many 1 2s is that in a row? I mean, this is a 2. 1, 1 2, right? We got to go back a number of 2s, right? So another 2, right? That's our question mark 2. If this is going to hold as a 2 here at the 50, we still haven't hit that median line. If this is going to go 1 2 1 2 1 2 1, right? That's why I started off by telling you we're bringing out the bull porn, because it's justified here. Let me show you this. Before I do, I want to give credit to the guy I pulled this from. His handle is Crypto Unfiltered. Now, I follow him on Medium. I'm not sure if that's his handle across other social media, but I pulled it from him. He got it off of Total Market Cap. He put it together here, and I was lazy rather than try and recreate it. I just grabbed his image, again, Crypto Unfiltered. He does some very nice analysis across crypto. I recommend him if you're a Medium subscriber here. So, but the point being here, as we look at the M2 supply at 2.2 trillion, or pardon me, at 2 trillion, and then look historically at what that has meant to the crypto market, whether it's Bitcoin's price, right, we see here in blue, or alt seasons. Well, that increase in the money supply is the liquidity that drives these bullish cycles. So as we are now at 2 trillion, it would be quite unusual for that to lead to a bearish market in crypto. Sorry, there's so much liquidity in the markets, right, as we are all watching the unbelievable, probably once in our lifetime kind of a bull market per the AI explosion that's happening, that's going to change every corner of our lives. As we watch that build out happening in all the markets that are reflecting that, the liquidity here is just incredible, right? So, I mean, it would be, I think, a suicide financially to be betting against this. Now, again, markets are going to do what they're going to do, but if we look back historically, this is certainly a very strong correlation. So with that established here, again, I'll post this for members in the Discord again, and I'll put a link to his Medium account. So those of you that want to follow, I think you have to have a paid Medium account for it. So pay attention to that one. Okay, so let's bring that one down. Let's go back to our chart here. So if indeed, right, we're going to follow those historical trends, I think 1 2 1 2 1 2, it's not so crazy. Now, that doesn't mean send off for the Lambo catalogs just yet. First thing let's get a new all-time high, right? We want to see that sweep break above and hold. It won't be a break of structure unless we close above. So we want to see that break, and then, as I was just kind of outlining it here, something like this for a retrace back into some of the liquidity here. If we go external, right, we know the algos like to move from external liquidity, which this would be, back to internal liquidity, which these imbalances would be. That may be the next really massive buy opportunity. Now, note here, we would still, just as we always would, have our channeling here that we want to use to help guide us. So 1 2, okay, again, is it the 3? Could it be the 3? Oh, I suppose, right? But again, given what we just looked at here and the potential, here, let me bring over these. Also from CoinMarketCap, right? So this is, you can just, and this, you don't have to, I am logged in here, but this, I think, is fine on the free account. All of the market cycle indicators here that people are so prone to referring to with Bitcoin, right? Because they've been historically very accurate. The Puell multiple, the pi cycle top indicator, the rainbow chart, most of you have all seen this. Potential up here at $1 million a coin. Okay, is it some bull porn? Here's a whole list of all of them, and you can go. None of them have triggered any sign of a top. None, not one of them. Think about that for a second. $1 million a coin. Many feel like that's where we're headed. So if we come back here, is that crazy? So really what you're trying to do is, look for the onboarding locations. Now, could you just buy it here? Well, I would tell you that's the worst possible place to buy it, right here, right? You don't want to do that. Let it do what it's going to do. But what if it goes? Eventually, there'll be a retrace because out of necessity. Again, where's the liquidity? How are they going to refuel this? It won't be above, right? There's no liquidity up here, right? Now, they could take it way up higher and create some liquidity. But right now, the liquidity is right here. sitting, right? Just like the last time we got up here, the liquidity was right here. Sweep, dump, sweep. Well, dump, maybe the wrong way to say it. Sweep, retrace. Sweep. We haven't started to retrace yet. We're going to get 2 in a row. So this would be an intro. That'd actually be a change of character. If I'm going to label that correctly. That'd be where are you? That'd be a change of character here because this does not create a new low. So it's just some internal structure here. Change of character, right? There's the break of structure. So the break now, a change of character is internal liquidity being created. And we do have the potential. It's a market structure break of the internal. Right? I'm on a 3-hour. If I went down to a 30-minute, it might be a break of structure, but it doesn't really matter here. What matters to us is we want to see this break. We want to see it close above it and then anticipate the retrace for, now we apply some Elliott. Could this be 1, 2, 1, 2, right? Now you've got onboarding here. Then this would go, potentially you start pushing this up. But as it sits right now, 1, 2, 1, 2, I'd be looking there. I'd be careful about buying the breakout, right? Again, I'm not saying it couldn't happen. It couldn't go in a straight line to 1 million. It's unlikely, but what does it usually do, right? What does it usually do? What does it usually do, right? So, I mean, break, retest, break, retest. That we can anticipate that. Okay, let me pause there, and I'm gonna move off of Bitcoin because I think we've covered so much of this. We've got plenty of here to look for here. So let's see, right? Next thing up, do we get a close above and create a new all-time high? Right? Could happen today, could happen this weekend, but odds are very high that it's coming. Okay, moving over to ETH. This is on Phemex, our sponsor. All right, I like to plug them when I can. So if you're looking for an exchange, right, to take advantage of what may be, again, the kind of opportunity here we don't see very often. For ETH, right, if you're looking for exchange, Phemex, I highly recommended. Links below. Okay, there's my plug. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, this is left over from last week. So if we zoom in here, or I think, last week. Okay, we went a little bit lower here than we had anticipated, right? So let's see if we can make sense of this. So we have this is a modified shift. If I go to the shift, it's even deeper. If I go to original, lo and behold, right? So in this particular one, you see me do this a lot, right? There's your 80% being realized, right? Right? So pretty deep retracement. It's not uncommon, right, for a more shallow retracement to work with a shift or a modified shift being just a channel. But in this case, we get a straight boom. There's your 80%. I'll show it as often as I can because this is, as I will often remind you, that's the most underutilized technical tool of any that has ever existed, yet it's the most accurate. Explain that to me. Well, should make sense, right? We know most people lose money in the market, so maybe you don't want to be one of those people that doesn't use it. Just a hint, just a suggestion. Now, remember, right, 80% is not 100%. There's a few places, a few markets here we're going to look at where trading principle number 4 was demonstrated, right? Failure to make the median line sets up a move equal to or greater than the swing that failed to get there. Well, we'll look at a couple of those when we get over some of the other alts that we're going to look at. I'm going to stay with majors here, but boom, 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 right? So tagging the median line, it's not necessarily a buy signal, but it's an area where we can anticipate a reaction. As we push now outside of the median lines, we can likely take these off. And now we get a pretty good looking Elliott count to the dollar tether. Now, is that 1? Looks pretty good. We've already broken the golden from the top, right? From here, right? So we have broken here. Good sign. Now you'd like to see a little more substantial break and a close above here. So we don't quite have a close above here, but we're wrestling with it. We've broken it the price action here, but to confirm that the algos have been stopped out, we need a close above. Well, let's get it right here. Maybe I do have it. Thought we did. Nope, we don't. Right, not quite close above. Right, maybe a tick or two. I'd want to see a more convincing close above that to know that they're on the other side. So where do we get the next algo? Right. Well, we have to. It'll come eventually. We'll get it here. Something like that. Now, I'm not saying this is going to be the top. At some point, we'll get a pivot up here, and once we get it, here it could be here, right? Once we get it, be looking for 3 down. That doesn't look like it's done yet. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Or it's too soon to call it. Oh, you probably got a little order block. Oh, you could probably use all of this here. The swing up before we head down. How do we know it's a good order block? Because of the displacement that's involved there. So we come down here, then a little pause, and here we go. So could this be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that? Something fairly sharp. I wouldn't bet against it. Again, I'm careful about buying up here at these highs. Of course, I would remind you that's never a good idea. But you got to make your own choices, right? So I would strongly advise against it. Let me pull back out here. Look at where we are with regards to the value area from this low, right? As we sit, value area high, value area low. Right, we want to see that push higher, and just typical auction market theory, we need to get up there and then build value up here, which is something like this. So we know, right, here's the point of control. We find value here. We need to get up here and reestablish value, right? Can we hold, or do we have to come back down, right? So you could see something like that being the case. So we don't want to just get up here and quickly retrace. We want to build and establish a new value area up here, as this will push higher. Right now, we're just contained by it. So don't assume we're just going to go straight up, right? Let's see it get up here, hold. All right, so then 1, maybe come back 2. Let's watch where the POC is. But right now, that looks promising. Just out here on, there's an 8-hour, right? How do you really, does that make you want to bet against that? I think probably not. Okay, let me move over to the S's, because there's a little trickier over here. So here's the S's. Here's Solana and SUI. Okay, so let's go to Solana first, because I think this is the more tricky of the two. Right now, as you sit here looking at this, you put your Elliott hat on. Well, number one, I don't have an impulse here, right? This is not a dispute. This is not an impulse. So you're kind of left with going, oh God, how am I going to get out of here? That's a 3-day, so we could get the whole thing, right? I think I was looking at this last week from a 3-day. 1, 2, 3. God, it's so good, right? You wanted to go 1, 2. It's not a 3. What's the alternate? Could be 1, 2, and we're going to do some sort of a diag in the 1, right? And we're going to fly higher. It could, right? So let's go down. Let's go down to a 4 and see if we can make sense out of that. Oh, let's get you off of there. It's just not there. 1, 2. It's just. I always come back to this line of thinking. If it's unclear and you're not sure, why are you forcing a trade, right? That's very unlikely. It can't be that, right? So we can take that off. We can't go, this does look like an impulse. 2, 3, it doesn't, we can't get it, right? We can't get the 1, 2, 3. Can't get it. So this can come off. This could be an A, B, oh God, A, B, C, D, E. Might be a little triangle in here. This looks good as a 5. A, yeah, so you're kind of stuck with it. A, some sort of triangle. B, C. When it doesn't make sense, right, start thinking, okay, outside the box. What's the alternate here? Well, it leaves me going, I'm not sure until I have some clarity on this. I'm reluctant to take a trade on it. This pivot looks interesting to me. So I just pivot to pivot. Was that Al? Oh, we're in the pocket, but this price action here, very unclear what we're doing here. So much as I remain bullish on Solana, I think it's the biggest gainer in my portfolio this past week, right? With all of this price action, it's just not clear enough, right? That I would say, okay, I know exactly what's happening here, so I'm ready to take a trade. That looks impulsive. This looks like could turn into something impulsive. So don't force a trade just because it's going up. Could this be A, B, C? I suppose. Until that gets clarity here, I'm not adding to anything new here. I would encourage you to think twice. And if you get something that gives you certainty and some clarity, well, have at it. I'm not saying don't trade it. I'm just saying I'm not going to trade it until I understand where we are here better. That's a 4-hour, even to an 8, right? Sometimes going out to a higher time frame, you reduce some of the noise. This price action here, very unclear what's happening. why that's happening. Is it a trend? Well, it's higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher. All right, well, then we get a little consolidation, higher high. Then I'm blowing out all of this, and I get a new low here. So again, I'm a bull. I'm plenty long, but I'm waiting, right, until I can. Again, it's just how I approach the market. If I'm not sure, I don't trade, or I don't add to trades. So this one, it needs some clarity. It will reveal itself, right? They always do. Eventually, we'll get some clarity there. So, but I'm not adding here. Now, if I come over to SUI, right, it's equally bullish here. But also, what are we doing here? From swing low to swing high, could that be a one? Let me pull out a little bit. Could this be 1, 2, 1, 2? Well, it sure looks like it, but God, that's a lot of complexity into that too. It's stagnating. So even if I pull that out here, 1 WXYX, we'd need another leg down. Right, with Bitcoin is looking as bullish as it is, right? Perhaps the push to break that structure and then start a retrace will bring some of this down with it, which is, it's not that I'm rooting for it to go down. It's that I'm unclear. Again, here's a 5. Yeah, this is certainly a 3. So it could be, God, you can barely even get it here. I think you got to go into an X here. So WXY can't be 1, 2. So you're left here because of that. Oh, where's an arrow? Because this can't be the 2, right? It's invalidated. You can't be thinking WXY 1, 2. Doesn't fly anymore. What's left? Well, as it sits right now, WXYX AB, another down leg, is what that implies. At the end of the day, what are we doing here? We're consolidating inside the value area. So the market is fat and happy here, but no one has the advantage. We don't know who's in control here. No one's in control. We're going from value area high to value area low to value area high to value area low, right? It's unclear if and when, but eventually either we're going to come down here and sweep the lows and then go, or something else is going to happen here and we're going to get a big launch here. We're going to have to recount this again. Can it be done? Well, you'd probably end up in some sort of A, B, C into a B, C, which I don't like, right? Would be a substantial force fit, right? Which we don't want to do just to accommodate the price action. Eventually, there'll be a way to solve this puzzle without a force fit. But as it sits right now, again, what edge do you have here trading this? Why would you want to trade it, right? Well, the general market conditions, right? The bullish nature. This is certainly not a meme coin. This is infrastructure. This is going to be a huge winner long term. But as it sits right now, does that make you want to enter that? Well, again, you're right in the middle of the value area. You have no edge here. So if you're taking a trade, it's just because you're rising tide. Do so at your own risk, right? But if you're doing it, at least put risk controls on it. Somewhere down here, because if this is if we're gonna get this to complete, if it's gonna be ABC, you want to take that down here. We don't know how far that goes. Do I think it's gonna do that? No. But that doesn't mean I would just buy it and just go, well, let's see what happens. Money management, right? Don't let let's just buy it, right? Turn into something that could get ugly, right? That's how people screw themselves, right? Just like, well, who cares, right? Well, we'll average down. Oh, now I'm hodling. There's no need to do it, right? You're always better to take the little loser. See, if you don't do it, half the problem with that, if you don't just take the stop here and we get something more substantial, you don't participate in any of that opportunity here. Because you're stuck, you were so stubborn, you're stuck in your long, and you don't get to participate in all the potential that's here. Now again, I'm not saying that's coming. I'm just saying that's the downside of not just taking the little stop before it turns to something big where you're like, well, okay, well, I guess I'm long term now. I guess I'll hold it. And then all the opportunity for the shorts, you miss because you were unwilling to take the stop. It happens every day by tens of thousands of people trading. Probably many millions of people that just won't take a stop. They're probably the number one killer of traders, period, right? Money management, right? It's almost always that. They get committed to the bias and they're not willing to accept, it's going down before it's going up, right? Do I think this is going up, or do I think it's going to be higher 2-3 years from now? Yeah. But does that mean this is a good time to buy it? You know, if you're a technician, what would your justification be? You don't have one. All right, let me move quickly. Hang on a second. Let's give Cardano a visit. Here's a nice example here. I was talking about this earlier. Trading principles, trading principle number one, right? We know here we had a golden corner. That's 80% probability we get there. Remember, 80%, it's not 100%. So as long as we don't blow this low here, right? So trading principle number 4, courtesy of Dr. Andrews, failure to make the median line. Sets up a move equal to or greater than the move that failed to get there. There it is, trading principle number 4 right in your face. Now, is that good news? All right, if you took this, well, I got 80% odds of getting there. Well, yeah, but again, 80 is not 100, right? So, and you look at it this way, we had the same thing coming this way, right? You had it here. So which 80 gets hit, right? That's the thing. Obviously, right? This side gets hit. There's your 80, right? So you got to look at that and go, well, the 80% didn't fail, right? Your bias failed. Your anticipation here that the low was in, which was perfectly valid, right? Perfectly valid. I've done the same thing. But that's not the point. The point is, okay, did the price action rules apply here, even though your bias was wrong? They did, right? Did the 80% get realized here? Yes. Yes. Right. So how do we reevaluate now? Well, this has been tagged again. That's not a buy signal. It's just okay, observation. Okay, this gets blown, right? So what would we be thinking here? Well, looks like we've got a 5 over here, so I'd probably just simplify it like this. Oh, come here. Can we look at this as a 3? I think we can. Let's get the 2 over here. Let's pull this up as our 1. So 1, 2, 1, 2. Whoops, wrong pivot. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1. More complex than we originally thought, right? You can see why you'd been thinking, oh, there it goes. This is a little bit, Abby, right? We've got kind of a weird 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's valid, but it's just a little unusual. This is a reasonable impulse. You know, force fit here. I mean, you could, to be more precise, right? Because I don't know, a lot of Elliottians like to correct my counts. Let's go down to micro and put that in green here, right? So if we were looking here, A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C, you'd probably have to do that here. Either way, right? At the end of the day, it's a 3, right? It's W, X, Y, right? If you want to be, very, very precise with the Elliott, more likely that's a W, X, Y because of the A, B, C here. We sweep the low, right? You've got all the ingredients there. Okay, we swept all this liquidity here. Oh, come here, all right? So there's liquidity here being swept, right? So, okay, now how do we know that that's potentially, right? We can take a look at this and say, well, that imbalance here, this is muscle again, right? We're blowing through the bearish fair value gap here. Bullish is holding, right? So we've got an inversion here. We'll see how that resolves. But, this looks like this could be 1, 2. We've got a candidate here to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So when it's like this and you're in between, like okay, well, again, look at the value area here. We're right smack dab in the middle. We've just tagged the point of control. So there's no particular edge here would make you think, oh, I got to buy it now. Okay, retracing to the 4 again. You're that's a little bit of hopium. You're here going, okay, well, I'm anticipating it's going here. Well, we don't know. If again to my head, yeah, I would take that trade before I'd sell it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, but then if we complete that, what are we anticipating? If that's the 1, we would be waiting for the next retrace. Oh God, come here. So we could get this. Now I have pattern recognition. So now I can look at it and go, okay, that's a completed 5. I'm looking for the 3. Okay, maybe I can do that, right? And then add your fibs on here. See if Al's going to get involved. Maybe we come a little deeper. Something like that. All right. Okay. Now, again, you don't need to just sit here with the limit order. You want to look for, just like this right here, you want to look for signs that muscle's stepping in. Okay. Do I get some imbalance here? Do I get a fair value gap, right? Something that would say, okay, that's not retail. That's muscle coming in. Okay, so 1, 2. Can I get a 1, 2 here? Can I get a 1, 2? All right, stop under the low. All right, is there a fair value gap here? That's what you'd be looking for to get into that 3. That's up there for 1, 2. Right now, right now we don't know if that could be ABC. You don't know, right? So again, there's no edge here. Let's see what the 4 does. Right? Let's see how we look into the 4. Okay, so that's Cardano. I got to get over to Ripple. Hang on. Okay, I'm going to finish here with these two. Let's do Ripple, and then we'll finish with Stellar. Okay, Ripple again a little tricky down here, so I'm going to pull this back. Let's go out to a daily. The Elliott is a little tricky down here in that we've had a sweep of this low. So the idea I went ABC into a 1-2 is invalidated. You'll note here this is pretty deep, right? It's taking its time. Now this took some time. The balance here was better in terms of time, but okay, we haven't invalidated because look how close we come to sweeping that 1, and then we launch off of it. So I think this count remains valid here. I don't know that it really matters here. We're going to go A, B, C. A, B, C, A, B, C, D, E. It's unclear to me. So right now I'm just leaning into the fact that we haven't swept that 1, and now we're start getting a push off of that. Let's go to a 4 hour, see how that looks. Do we have something impulsive, right? So here's the count invalidator, right? We couldn't go 1, 2. So now we're kind of stuck with that. Okay, is that a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 coming down here to put that low in? 1, 2. Well, let's hope so, right? Again, I'm very long here. That's what I'm anticipating to come off of this. Good signs here. Well, we got a fair value gap right here again, so that's would suggest that that's institutional buyers here. Again, it's a 4 hour, right? Retail doesn't do that, right? So only muscle can do that. So 1, 2. Looks like there's another leg up here for that 3. You could measure it, right? Always, it just takes seconds, right? So why not? Could we go up here? Where do they usually go? Not that it's obligated to go there, but again, you might look for, okay, if there's going to put in a little stall here, we're putting in a 4, and there's another kick for the 3. We go down to a 1. You can start to see that probably a little bit better. Is this? Oh God, that's a little unclear what you've got there. All the more why I want to see this kind of resolve itself. That's not a great looking impulse, but another kick up here, you probably talk yourself into it. But again, why are we forcing here? Look at the value area, right? We're value area low, value area high. We're right in the middle. It's a little soon for this. Show me the 5 here, and then retrace back into value, and then we'll see if we can launch out in the 3rd, right? And that's where the bigger kick's going to come, and the better trading. But right now, as much as you're like, oh, it's going, is it, or is that what you're seeing? Right? Don't forecast the completed wave count in your mind's eye and start trading accordingly. Let it show it to you. It will reveal itself. It always does, right? So, right? Do you know that that's there? Do we know that's a 1, 2? Definitely not. Liquidity. We got plenty of resistance to get through here, and yet again, how is the market interpreting this price action? It's literally sitting right at the most agreed upon price. Fair value. Point of control. So what's your edge? You don't have one. All right, let's come back over here to Stellar. 1. Well, I mean, right now that's hard not to love, right? Because you have such a low risk reward here, right? So you can put your stop. Well, let's just say if you bought it here. Let's use a reasonable target. 1 tick below that, right? We don't want that to be overlapped, right? If this is going to hold as an impulse, that's just the first algo target. That's 11 to 1. I am in logs here, all right? Any question that's impulsive price action? Retrace, right? It's a nice 3. 1, 2, right? We don't sweep the low, right? Because there's liquidity down there. They can't get it. And then what happens when we come off of that, right? Imbalance, right? So massive displacement, right? Which creates the imbalance. Market likes to come back. Oh God, here, let's put this back on. Thought I had it on here. All right. Come back, tap, tap, tap. Bearish being invalidated, right? The inverse is getting blown right through here. We come back, we're holding at the fair value gap here. Okay, is that 3, 4? I want to see a little more here, right? But it's a very, very, you're putting it right there. Very low risk trade. RSI is on the rise. How's it fib wise? That's the 2. Well, here's your high probabilities location for a wave 4. We're right in the pocket. We haven't overslept we haven't swept the high of the 1. Why would you not take that trade? Risk reward's not good enough for you. If we make it up here, right, for a wave 3, or excuse me, let's go down here. Let's go to let's do it this way. Let's take the length of 1 from the proposed 4. Let's bring it down to a common target. Well, we have 2 things here. Let's split the difference. We have the 100% length of the 1 from the proposed wave 4, and we have the algo target. I'd give the edge to the algo target. That's 3.96 to 1. Nothing to sneeze at. Okay, guys, I think that covers it. I think I had anything else, right? So that'll give you a few things to chew on here. We'll see how we look going into next week. I was off on Wednesday for the live stream. I'll be back on track, regular schedule next Wednesday for those of you that were looking for it on Wednesday. It just had some other issues going on. I couldn't handle it. But as we sit right here, there's plenty of things to be chewing on here. But again, as we looked at a number of these, don't force it. It's so tempting to do, right? But wait until you have absolute clarity where you can put money at risk and you're comfortable with it. Again, always consider it this way. If you're looking back at your journal, can you document why you took the trade? Right? Is there good, valid technical reason, or even whether it's fundamental, right? Whatever the reason is, there has to be good clarity as to why you're taking the trade. Otherwise, you're just rolling dice. Okay, guys, with that, I'll wish you a good weekend, and we'll catch you. I'll be back to talk to you guys on a live stream on Wednesday. See ya.